Thank you guys for having me here. I just want to say to Chair Lady and the chair, the board, again, thank you guys for having me here. My journey started with, we've all seen the footage of Mr. George Floyd and how he met his demise. And when seeing that, that it creates this impetus in you you have to be part of the change. I recognize that the progression that we've made thus far was really based on some of the things that my grandparents had done, and those are predecessors. And I'm a 42-year-old gentleman, and I recognized at that point that I really hadn't done anything to be actively involved. I really hadn't supported different missions with funds, nor had I brought myself to the table. And as I was as I was processing these things with my pastor, Pastor Sean Franco, and I really began to feel like, I need to get involved in the police precinct, because there's a perception in the community that the precincts and the courtrooms are collaborating to protect folk that's not honoring the integrity of the badge. And with that, Pastor Franco introduced me to something that Mr. Jim Holland had put together over at the Nazarene Church with the faith leaders as well as the police. And at that point, I went there, and in that meeting, which was a great meeting, I met Dr. Katz. And prior to meeting Dr. Katz, I had sent a letter to him and to ask for a conversation. And we had a conversation subsequent to that meeting, and then, he talked to me about the police academy, the Citizens Academy. Went to the academy. We started with something phenomenal, right? Captain or Mr. Rogers, he started the program with the lights being turned out. He took out his phone, and there was illumination. Then he asked all the officers to take out their phone, and then there was illumination. Then he asked us participants to take out our phones and turn on the flashlight. Then there was more illumination. And that was the idea, was that, if we all participate, if we all come in here together, we'll do and shine light on something that only one person can't do. So that was how we started. I would have you to know that we were all safe. We were masked up. We were socially distanced. None of our health was compromised upon entering the building. We had to have the thermometer scan, so we passed those things. And then we just learned about the police department, right? It was just unveiling, because as a citizen, you see the cars, right? But you don't know the police department. Say the police, but you don't know it. And what we learned is that this is an entity that's part of our community, that's with people that care about the community. One thing that Dr. Cass always says is that, we live here. We're not just here working. We live in this community, so we want to be safe. And what we found out, man, was that from SWAT to, one of the greatest things, right, is this pipeline about this service age, right? So those persons who are not eligible to be police officers because they're not 21 yet, like, you can start at 18 and be a service aide, and it's like a pipeline, to be an officer. Awesome. And it's intentional, right? It's an intentional recruiting of different ethnic groups, to be a part of that. So we did that. Man, we learned from resource officers to SWAT. Again, so many departments, right? So again, as a citizen, you don't know about all this, right? SWAT, you see it on TV, but you don't really know about what's going on. So it was great. Now, here's it. This every citizen, man, if you have the opportunity, you can go through this simulation, right? They got a simulation thing that's called Milo. That's great in itself, right? But then we had to go through the scenarios, the same scenarios that the officers go through. Man, that'll break you. That will break you. Listen, I wasn't against officers or anything, I'm about, community building. But going through these scenarios, you understand that being a person on the couch, you really don't understand. When you see these little bits of what's happening in the news, it's only a fragment. Because I went through the scenario, and from the jump that the scenario, nobody's going to get hurt. You know this, that no one's going to get hurt. However, when the stress of that moment sit on you, you have decisions to make. The first scenario, I don't want to blow it because you guys may go, right? But the first scenario, it was rough. I'm going to just tell you that it was a person that was having a mental health crisis. In that scenario, I got shot. I got shot in the scenario, right? And so you hit it. And then there's another surprise in this. I ain't gonna try to blow it. There's another surprise in the scenario. And all I could think about, although this was a play thing, all I could think about was self-preservation. And so I made decisions. And after I finished the scenario, man, I'm in tears and everything, man. I'm broke, right? And so I'm going home, I'm crying to my wife, I'm processing. It's just, I'm a mess, man, like 2 or 3 days after these scenarios, right? And so, but I recognized in processing, I made decisions. But just because I made decisions based on what I was feeling, it doesn't mean that I was right. I never tried to help. I never tried to serve. I tried to preserve my life. It was definitely it was an eye-opening experience, man. It gives you more of an empathetic posture toward these men and ladies that serve in our community like this. It's an amazing thing. But the academy was just rich. I mean, excuse me, all the officers, man. Again, y'all know the officers. They people, you know what I mean? We're building. We could, the culmination of the academy for me, I ended it with the ride-along. And the ride-along, I did a 4-hour shift with Abshire, great guy, you know, Justin Abshire. Did a ride-along, and that was great, right? Because, again, only on TV you see certain things, right? So first thing we get on the shift is a 911 hang-up, right? So you got to go investigate that. So we go investigate that. As soon as we finish that, we get a call that we got a cardiac arrest. So here's the lights. Man, I ain't gonna tell you how fast it was going, but we was moving, Jack. We was moving. So the lights come, and man, I'm like, man, people don't get out the way. Like, they wait till the last minute and man, come on, man, get out the way, man. We got things to do. We trying to save lives around here. So we ended with that, man, and just, I would say to the board, if there's ever a place where, you know, just to say that, hey, the police are serving the community, I would say definitely let's keep the Citizens Academy. I mean, I think the scenarios were new to the academy this year. Definitely keep the scenarios, Dr. Katz. That'll change your life for real. Again, I'm grateful for him. We have subsequent conversations to have, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my experience with you guys. So thank you.